Welcome back, Truth Seeker. February 24th, 2019, the 55th day of the year. Today, the Pope made a remark calling the abusive members of the Catholic clergy tools of Satan. And I want to show you what's so interesting about this remark. Again, coming on the 55th day of the year. We're also going to talk about Marilyn Manson and his song, Say 10. Marilyn Manson was raised Roman Catholic. So let's read a little bit first. Pope Francis, speaking on the final day of a historic summit on clergy sexual abuse, called priests and other Catholics who abuse children tools of Satan, but offered no concrete steps to address the Church's massive and morally damning abuse crisis. The brutality of this worldwide phenomenon becomes all the more grave and scandalous in the Church, for it is utterly incompatible with its moral authority and ethical credibility, the Pope said in a speech in Vatican City on Sunday. Consecrated persons, he continued, chosen by God to guide souls to salvation, let themselves be dominated by their human frailty or sickness and thus become tools of Satan. The Pope's speech, delivered at the end of Mass at Sala Regia in the Apostolic Palace, came at the end of an unprecedented gathering of 190 Catholic leaders, including 114 bishops from around the world, to address a clergy sexual abuse scandal that stretches across several continents. Okay, so again, this came Sunday, February 24th, which is the 55th day of the Gregorian calendar year, a calendar that was given to us by the Catholic Church named after Pope Gregory. 55, very specific number to Satan in the study of Gematria. And again, when you're familiar with this code, you see how all of the Pope's actions and chosen words are in sync with the calendar year, which is very Catholic. So, with the alphabetic order, Satan sums to 55. The way this works is S is the 19th letter, A is the 1st, T is the 20th, A is the 1st, N is the 14th. You add the letters together, Satan equals 55. Where you see Satan summing to 10, you just use the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So S, the 19th letter, you take the numerology of 19. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So S is 1. A is 1. T, the 20th letter, becomes 2 plus 0 is 2. So T is 2. A is 1. N, the 14th letter, becomes 1 plus 4 is 5. So N is 5. 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5. Satan is 10. Now understand there's a mathematical relationship between 55 and 10. When you add 1 through 10 together, it equals 55. There's also something called the Fibonacci sequence. And 55 is the 10th Fibonacci number. So 55 is the 10th triangular number. When you add 1 through 10, it equals 55. 55 is also the 10th Fibonacci number. We're going to look at the Marilyn Manson song. Again, a man who was raised Roman Catholic. His song, Say 10, notice how he spelled it, with the word say and the number 10. The chorus goes, you say God, and I say 10. When you flip the alphabetic order around, making Z1 counting back to A is 26, God is 55. And when you use the reverse alphabetic order, and the rules of numerology, God is 10. And in numerology, 10 is actually supposed to symbolize God. And the reason why, it has to do with the digit 1 and the number 0 following it. 1 is a very special number. It's the only number that divides into all other numbers. Every number is divisible by 1. That's not true of any other number. So that means 1 can be found in all numbers, whereas God can be found in all things. So 1 is associated with God. And in numerology, when you put a 0 at the end of a number, so 1 followed by a 0, which is 10, you add a divine quality to it. These are concepts within numerology. So 10 is symbolic of God's divinity. When I first learned Gematria, I thought it was so interesting that Satan summed to 10. I thought, that is really strange. 10 is supposed to be symbolizing God, and here Satan sums to 10. And when I first began this study, I only knew these ciphers, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. It was years later that I learned about the reverse alphabetic order. And it's funny that around the same time I learned this is when Marilyn Manson's song came out. This was shortly after I learned about the reverse alphabetic order. This was at the beginning of 2017 that this song came out. And I thought, very strange. So, just as a reminder, with regards to 55 and 10, again, when you add 1 through 10 together, it equals 55. That makes 55 the 10th triangular number. And again, the Fibonacci sequence goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. 55 is the 10th number in that sequence. You just add the 2 digits that came prior to get the next number. So the last 2 numbers I said were 34 and 55. You add them together, the next number in the sequence is 89. 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. Then you add 55 plus 89 to get the next number, 144, which is the 12th Fibonacci number, so on. Anyway, 55 is the 10th. Numerology in Gematria equals 55, so does Fibonacci. So how interesting. So again, on the 55th day of the year, the Pope calls these men who are supposed to serve God tools of Satan, the men who abuse children. And what else is interesting is the gathering had 190 Catholic leaders. Synagogue of Satan equals 190. And notice how it says 114 are bishops. I forgot to put this slide in here, but the word synagogue, just using the alphabetic order, is 114. So 190 Catholic leaders, including 114 bishops around the world. Synagogue of Satan, 190 with the alphabetic order. Synagogue alone, 114 with the alphabetic order. And these ciphers up here are considered the 4 base ciphers. The alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, that's what this is. Again, the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. And with regards to that 42, Jesuit carries the Gematria of 42. Pope Francis the first publicly Jesuit Pope. So, I want to show you a few other things that are interesting. In the New International Version of the Bible, in the NIV, there's exactly 47 mentions of Satan. 47 mentions. The Old Testament has 14. The New Testament has 33. 33 associated with the fallen angels. So, 47 total mentions. And the reason that's interesting is because in Gematria, Vatican equals 47. Today's speech was in Vatican City. This reference to Satan on the 55th day of the year. Francis, as in Pope Francis, Francis 47. When you think of Satan, you likely think of the number of the beast, the alphabetic order 47. The word Christian is also 47. The reflection of that number 47 is very important as well. Lucifer, another name for Satan, 74. This code of letters and numbers, Gematria 74, English 74, it's occult knowledge 74, Masonic is 74, Jewish is 74, the synagogue of Satan, the false Jews, those who say they are Jews but who lie. The English translation of Yeshua is Jesus. For the record, Jesus is 74, so is cross, so is Messiah, so is gospel, so is parables. When you write Jesus Christ with the alphabetic order in reverse in the rules of numerology, it's 74. Anyhow, special numbers here, and not arbitrary, and numbers that are used ritualistically again and again in things such as this. Satan. Another interesting thing about Satan in light of the Catholic Pope giving this speech today. Satan also has Gematria of 35, like Baphomet, and like Catholic. JFK, the only Catholic president, the 35th. JFK was killed at age 46. Catholic, when you flip the alphabetic order around, is 46, like how in the Catholic Old Testament there's 46 books. And if you're new to my work, cover many riddles with the Catholic Church and how all of these numbers are important. With regards to child abuse, there was a sick joke recently in the NFL, which has a lot of Catholic Jesuit influence over it, as does the entire world of professional sports. Jim Harbaugh met with Pope Francis. You might recall this. Jim Harbaugh, former NFL player, former NFL coach, college coach, now coaching Michigan, he went to the Vatican and met Pope Francis. And then, right after that meeting, his star tight end, just think about tight end in light of sexual abuse, whose name was Jake Butt. I'll show you this. Jake Butt was drafted out of Michigan right after Pope Francis met the coach of Jake Butt, and he was drafted 145th overall by the Denver Broncos. 145th overall by the Denver Broncos. Notice Catholic 71. Look at Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos 71. Let me come back to Catholic. You see the 145? Jake Butt was supposed to go in the first round. Instead, he fell to the 5th round and became the 145th pick. Jake Butt, a tight end. And for weeks after this, Wikipedia purposefully kept his name edited as Jake Dick Butt. His middle name is not Dick, but think about the name Dick Buttkiss. Anyway, Jake Butt, the tight end, and notice tight end is 42, again like Jesuit. This might be a lot to absorb, but if you're new here, I've been educating about this for 5 years. The world of Masonry, Jesuits, they have a lot of influence. They control government, media, sports, and they conduct everything together as a mass ritual, and they farm these athletes and name them accordingly. Jake Butt's life was planned. Jim Harbaugh's meeting with Pope Francis was part of this ritual. All of this is symbolic, and it's a mockery of the fans. And I just want you to think about American football. I want you to think about how it's men in tight pants. It's men bent over. It's a man getting behind another man and reaching beneath his balls, beneath his genitals. You got positions like tight end. Pope Francis is part of these rituals. He's chosen. As I pointed out this year, you can go back and look. The New Orleans Saints, they became the first team to get to 12 wins. Their record was 12-2, like 122. Notice Pope Francis is 122. And they did that on December 17th, 2018, Pope Francis's 82nd birthday. Saints equals 82. On Pope Francis's 82nd birthday, December 17th, they become the first team to get to 12 wins, becoming 12-2. And here it is. Saints box score December 17th, 2018. They won with 12 points, getting to 12-2. See how it goes? And I think we can leave it there for now. Just want you to realize these words spoken today, not an accident. Just another ritual. And like the article calls attention to, he says the words but offers no solution. It's because an entity such as the Catholic Church and the Vatican is too powerful. There's nothing that can be done to stop them in this world we're living in right now. unless there's a mass awakening, unless people say, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this church anymore. What is this religion ultimately doing for the world? How many people are actually being hurt by this religion? Is this doing more good or more bad? So, I'm going to remind my words. These people think that nothing can be done. But if information like this went viral, if people said, you know what, I'm not going to show up at these sports games anymore. Wow, they're rigged, they're mocking me. I'm not going to show up for this anymore. By the way, Jake Butt supposedly got hurt on the Jesuit order's birthday this year, September 27th. Look at this. Jake Butt, big injury story. Suffers another ACL tear. This injury was September 27th. Here it is. Non-contact injury, torn ACL, September 27th. Again, that's the Jesuit order's birthday, September 27th. So just another more recent Catholic riddle with Jake Butt. This is how scripted the world of sports, entertainment, news is. All right, Truth Seeker. We'll leave it there for now. Until next time.